strategically. I can get it right. I'm gonna go where the winners go. 'Cause sailing ain't an option, no, it ain't in my blood. All I do is try to
Good evening out there. Happy Monday. Welcome to Mondays Beyond the Mic. We are here yet again another Monday. Of course, this is the place where we go beyond surface level topics in relationships. This space provides us with an opportunity to delve into more personal or profound aspects of our lives. Thank you for our faithfuls who are always there. Thank you for the best moderator in the YouTube streets, Ane. We thank you. And if this is your first time here with us on Mondays Beyond the Mic, we welcome you. Co host, how are you doing on this Black History Monday?
I am doing splendid on this Black History Monday. I am excited for the month of February and what it has in store. How are
Yes, we
you?
have some. I'm good. I'm excited too because we're going to talk about our people, our people, our people.
All
Yeah,
right.
we're going to talk about our people. So again, welcome. So here on Mondays, Beyond the Mic, personal disclaimer, we talk from our personal experiences in the hopes that it will help someone move past their pain to happiness, joy, therapy, coaching, whatever that looks like to you. Our number one house rule is respect, respect, respect. I would like to state that if any disrespect is displayed in the chat or on the platform, individuals will be silenced or removed. So again, we said it is Black History Month. Let's see. We have some people watching out there. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Mondays Beyond the Mic Black History Month. That's what we're gonna name it. Mondays
The
Beyond.
Black History Month version.
Yeah.
Lady Dawn B said, Happy Monday, family. X and O's. We love
Hey.
Lady Dawn B.
Hey, Lady Dawnby. Lady Dawnby comes on Thursday night. She be over there. She has after hours too, like after dark. They start doing some other stuff. So if you like to stay up late and get deep down to the nitty gritty, going over there on Thursday. But again, Black History Month. We are excited. We're gonna learn ourselves something. Co-host, let's take it away.
All right, so let's just first before we talk about Black History Month, and many of us have heard the myth like they picked February because it was the shortest month of the year to give us for Black History Month, and that's actually a myth. So Black History Month was started by Carter G. Woodson, along with the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History, launched what was called Negro Week in 1926. It was the month of February was chosen because of the birthdays of Frederick Douglass, whose birthday is February 14th, and Abraham Lincoln, whose birthday is February 12th. Um, President Gerald Ford in 1976 officially recognized Black History Month. So that's where it went from being a week to a month. And a little known fact is that Carter Woodson started Negro History Week with the thought that Black history would be woven into the educational system, so it wouldn't have to be a week, but would be a part of academics. Well, boy, was he wrong. So, but at least we started with trying to get a week. And thanks again to former President Gerald Ford making or acknowledging Black History Month in the month of February. So there's a
Yeah.
little fact about Black History Month.
There's a fun fact. And then even anybody out there watching, do you understand where the real McCoy comes from? That phrase? Well, we are going to figure it out. I mean, we're going to have so much fun learning our history. Let's look at this.
where the phrase, the real McCoy, comes from? Elijah McCoy was a remarkable inventor and engineer who made significant contributions to the world of steam engines and machinery in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Born to fugitive slaves from Kentucky and Colchester, Ontario in 1824, he showed a keen interest in mechanical devices as a child and went on to study mechanics and become a certified mechanical engineer in Edinburgh, Scotland. Despite racial prejudices, he secured a job as a fireman and oiler for the Michigan Central Railroad, where he created his most important invention, a lubricating cup that could distribute oil evenly, ensuring machines could run continuously without pausing for maintenance. This device was so popular that it is widely believed to have led to the phrase, the real McCoy. He filed 57 patents in his lifetime, including an ironing board and a garden sprinkler, making him one of the greatest black inventors in history.
Come on, tell me we not some bad people that they don't teach us. He
Absolutely.
invented the oil to keep these machines running. Where would our cars be without the lubricant? How many people still use ironing boards? They still sell them. They make
Right.
different sizes now. Some of them come in, equipped. They just flip on out the closet. So yeah, that's a little history.
So please hit the like button um, on your way coming in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, and also remember, we want you to subscribe, and we love super chats. So if you put in a super chat, we will read your comment first. So we thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing.
So again, as you know, Black History Month, we gonna learn ourselves something this Monday. Since it's Black History Month, tonight we're exploring a love story that shaped history, Barack and Michelle Obama. We dive into their love story, challenges, and what it means to build a lasting relationship. But we're not just celebrating their love, we're also using their journey as a lens to compare it with modern day relationships and marriage. So that's our topic tonight. The Obamas co-host. Take it away.
All right, humble beginnings. In the summer of 1989, at a Chicago law firm, young Michelle Robinson met an ambitious Harvard law student named Barack Obama. But here's the catch: Michelle was his mentor at the firm, and she was not interested in dating a colleague. Sounds familiar? I'm quite sure we've experienced that. Today, we hear similar concerns about workplace relationships and maintaining professionalism, but Barack was persistent. If Barack and Michelle's story played out today, Michelle's initial hesitation might have been reinforced by professional norms, and HR policies might have made their romance trickier to navigate. Let's talk about the word persistence. In today's world, persistence can sometimes be perceived as overstepping boundaries rather than romantic determination. In today's world, persistence can lead to workplace harassment because of repeated romantic advances, even if well intentioned, can be seen as creating a hostile work environment. The power dynamics and ethical concerns, even outside of the workplace, social status, wealth, and influence can create an imbalance, making someone feel obligated rather than genuinely interested. And another point is changing social norms and expectations. While grand romantic gestures were once celebrated, today they might have been as unnecessary pressure, especially if the recipient has already declined interest. What are your
Hmm.
thoughts?
Well, first, one of my first thought is I thank God that the HR policies wasn't enforced back then, because if it was, think about it, we would have no Michelle, and maybe we would not have we might not have the Obamas because of being persistent. It just makes me think about how times have changed, because now we have all these, right? It's harassment. Someone may deem it as being persistent. I really like her, but in today's modern world, you sweating me. right? What's another word that you sweating me? He on me. He hawking me. She won't let me breathe. She's a stalker. He's a stalker. But back then, it was persistent, right? So I think it's funny how the same word, but now carries two different definitions because of culture evolving and the way people think of things. What's your thoughts?
I think when I read this, I think the fact that Michelle was the senior in this particular instance, and not that the roles were reversed. So normally you hear where the man is the woman was hired and the man was either her supervisor or so on and so forth. So that power dynamics looks different, and then it could have felt like quick pro quo, opposed
Mm-hmm.
to, she declined but was like, okay, he grew on me. Um, but she still felt in control is how I see it from her position in the law firm at the time.
And that's a good point that you brought up the power dynamics because it's usually reversed, right? And even within that, women can feel as though back then and even now that because he's the boss, because he's over me, I have to. I don't really want to be in this relationship, depending on their situation or their living environment. It's like, okay, this is the job, but I need to do this. I need to fall into this place or be into this relationship because of my living situation, because of my financial situation. So to your point, yeah, the power dynamics is a good point that you pointed out that she was the senior. Michelle
Mhm.
probably said, Barack, go on now with yourself. I'm trying to teach you something. Here you go flirting. I would have loved to hear that conversation. What was that like?
Right.
That's a good one. Right? Just if you don't get out of here, sit down somewhere. I'm trying
But
mentoring you right
also,
now.
I think it also speaks to her being comfortable with who she was at that time to be able to say, like, no, and not feel the pressure. And when, however, she decided to finally say yes, or for whatever reason that she said yes, it feels like or seems like it was on her terms.
Mm-hmm. Still in control. Yep, that's a very good point. So now let's talk about the struggles they face, right? Because there's no perfect couple. Every couple faces challenges. So
Mhm.
we see the picture perfect version of Michelle and Barack, but behind closed doors, they face the same struggles many couples do. Student debt, Lord have mercy, grueling schedules, and the challenge of raising a family while both partners chase ambitious careers. So, the struggles that Barack and Michelle Obama face behind closed doors mirror the challenges many modern couples experience today. While their public image reflects a strong and inspiring partnership, their journey was filled with real life obstacles that many relate to, including financial burdens. We know that is the number one cause for breakups and divorce. So, financial burdens and student debt. The Obamas, like many young professionals today, dealt with student loan debt. Michelle spoke about how they had to be strategic about their finances. So if anybody get their book, we might need to get their book so we can learn some tips on how to get over financial burdens and student debt. The next one is grueling work schedules and career pressures. Both Barack and Michelle had demanding careers. He pursued politics while she built her legal and public service career. Balancing these ambitions requires compromise and sacrifice. And I think they actually, if I'm not mistaken, they actually took turns. While she was building her career, he supported. And while he was building his political career, she supported. Now, today, in modern day, that looks so much different. That I'm gonna stop right there and ask you in the chat, what do y'all think about those dynamics? Because now he has to pay certain people, he has to pay 100%. If we think about these TikToks and videos that's out now, people don't even want to go to the Cheesecake Factory, knowing they hang out in the Cheesecake Factory with their friends. in their family. There's nothing wrong with the Cheesecake Factory, but it's so much pressure now for men to do everything. When I think we talked about this before, when as the woman, you don't even have that standard for yourself. You can't do those things for yourself, but now you want him to come in and give you a lifestyle that you're not even used to. So, what's your thoughts on that?
I totally agree. I think you cannot ask someone to be something that you're not. And when you look at, let's take their relationship, and I believe it was Barack who said when he met Michelle, he found his equal. And I think that's where we need to start when you're looking at relationships. Do I see you as my equal? It doesn't mean that the roles, may not change or things like that, but I respect you. I have a mutual respect for you. I want to see you win just as much as I want to see myself win. We're not in competition, we're in
Mm-hmm.
collaboration. And I think that is what we see in their love story, where they had to communicate to say, okay, it's your turn. And I will fall back and do X, Y, and Z. So he didn't fall into the tradition of, well, you're the wife, you need to stay home and bear the children. And she did not fall into the role that this is my role,
Mm-hmm.
understanding that we both have ambitions. And I think it's different because when he met her, she was already in her place of her level up. Let's just use that. She was already an attorney. She wasn't striving to be one. She was already there. He came in after her. So it was clear he knew she was a professional woman when they met. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I think sometimes it could be where you meet a person versus I'm gonna use the young love where we went to high school together and then he started his career and so on and so forth. So I think that the level of respect was different based on when they met.
Yeah, and I just thank God she wasn't so stuck up. He said, "No, I'm not messing with him. I'm the teacher. I'm the mentor. He's beneath me." Because we do have that, right? So let's take a commercial break because we have our faithfuls.
All right. Hey, Kathy. She says, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Kathy. Thank you for being here. And look, listen.
Steph, good
Hey,
evening,
Steph.
ladies. Monday.
Happy
Happy Black
Monday.
History Month.
Yes, happy Black History Month. At the top of the hour, we gave a little Black History Month. We gave a little Black History Month. I sure enough can't talk tonight. We gave a little Black History. This at the top of the show, which we will be doing for the rest of the month because it's just our month. And we're going to take advantage of the month. So let's move on. The next one is emotional and relationship struggles. Michelle has openly discussed moments of frustration in their marriage, including times when she felt like she was doing more of the heavy lifting at home. What's your thoughts on that? That's good communication. That's good, healthy communication.
I can see because I think a lot of times, depending on the circles in which they would run as a couple, let's think about politics. For the most part, is a male dominant, and especially going back at that time, and he was trying to, or he not trying, he was moving in these circles, which required him to be in different places, and if they had children, someone had to choose. Well, he needed to
Mhm.
be out there, and especially he's going to be elected, and in an elected official, he needed to be present, and he had to show his face. So I could see how that could become cumbersome for someone to be like, yeah, I'm feeling this way, but at least she had the conversation. And I think a lot of times we will regret a partner without talking to a partner.
Thinking they can read our minds. So talk to us out there in the comments. What do y'all think about Michelle Obama's the Obama's relationship in terms of modern day dating, where individuals just give up, individuals don't communicate. The first thing is like, I'm out.
And
So let us know what you think.
you have to think they're also lawyers. So the one thing that they got paid to do and they studied was communication. They talked
Good
for a
point.
living.
Good point. That's a very good point.
So
I
their
wonder if they
skills
this
probably
is
look different than most, right? They could say, okay, we're gonna have this now, we're gonna negotiate, we're going into
use
arbitration.
those words.
Right.
Do we need to call in the mediator? Okay. What are we doing right now? Because you're not listening to me and I'm not listening to you. Do we need a third party? Hold on.
Okay, Steph said, I threw in the towel a long time ago. All right. What do you mean, Steph? Explain that. What do you mean
Yeah, but he
towel?
threw in the tower a long time ago.
You threw in the
Listen,
towel
this
to
your whole
serve because that was the message I heard on Sunday when with the towel. So what are you talking about?
so while she's saying that, you know what? You said something in terms of communication. I want to play something in terms of marriage.
That men and women have to submit to each other for the relationship to work. I know this topic comes up a lot, and oftentimes it's, oh, the woman got to submit to the man and things of that nature. Don't get me wrong, she has to. But I think also as a man, you have to submit to your woman in some instances as well. I think we put such a negative connotation on the word submission when in reality all it is delegating. Right? It's just like a CEO of the company. He doesn't make all the decisions. He has a board that helps him make the decisions. Your woman is an expert at something, or she should be. If that person is stronger in it, then you let them quarterback that. That doesn't take away from you as a leader. It doesn't take away from you as a man. In fact, it makes you smart. It makes you efficient.
What you think? I think that was so good because I think both men and women need to know when to yield, right? And it's the same in any relationship. You may be stronger in one area than your partner may be. And to the same point, what Sir Hell was talking about when he was dropping all those jewels and
Nuggets.
nuggets and jewels. Yeah, when he was telling us how the man is the leader, he's the provider, and he may see things, right, that we don't see if he is the provider. So being a woman, especially in this modern day, in this strong, you know how strong we are every woman, I got it, I can conquer me, Jane. That whole thing, we need to know when to yield and submit. And like he said, submission is not a bad word.
Oh, I agree. I think submission in and of itself is definitely not a bad word. It actually is a great thing because if a lot of women have an issue with the word submission, um, I think it's because we think it's like, I don't have a thought. You can't tell me what to do. I'm grown. I think it comes from, if I trust you, then I can submit to your authority. So a lot of times where you would have a struggle, if I don't trust the person that to lead me.
And I
It,
think it's good what he said for men too. I'm sorry, it was a lag. I thought you were finished. I'm sorry.
no. I was just gonna say, I mean, for men and women, but they have to trust each other. She has to
Hmm.
trust his leadership enough to say, I may not see it, but if he is confident that we're going this way, but it also goes back to what he said, it should be communication. Here's my input about the situation.
Hmm.
And I believe any wise man will listen to the partner in which he has selected because she's going to have some insight. It's like
Hmm.
when we were younger, your mother could tell you, I don't like that so and so don't mean you any good, and you'd be like, no, that's my friend, and they're like, no, okay, and then lo and behold, because sometimes you can see your partner can see what you do not see, and vice versa. If you pick someone who can lead and lead efficiently, he may see something that you're not seeing, and you have to respect. I'm gonna say I'm gonna respect the God in him, and I'm gonna respect who he is to go, okay, if he's saying this, you know what? Maybe I'm in my own way.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's good because even when you're saying that, I remember my bishop saying something with him and his wife, how, a couple stand back to back. And what he's saying is she can see what I can't, and I can see what she can't. And that way we got a 360 view.
Mhm.
of everything that's going on around us. Oh, this one here.
Oh, Steph said relationships, period. But when I think about that, I think the problem has been not all, but most of us have chosen the wrong partner. And when you've
Oh,
chosen the
absolutely.
wrong partner, you have given your heart. And when I use this term, you've given over the leadership in your heart to the wrong person. So now when someone comes into your life who may be the right person, you've built up all these walls that now they need to figure out how to tear them down if they're willing to do the work. Um to get you back to basics.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so you're hesitant, you're always going to think twice like, he can't be that nice, or she can't, what she want. So you're always, question mark, what is it that, what's your end game?
And that's really not a good way to live because you can literally, the thing is, when you put walls up, right, it blocks people from coming in and it blocks you from getting out. So walls are never good on either side of it. And even, and this is something I had to work through, had to realize, to your point, when you pick the wrong person, guess what damage will be done? But you can't get mad at the person so much when you knew internally that it was time for you to move on, when you knew like this is no good and you chose to stay. So I think it takes a level of maturity and growing up and taking that hard look at yourself in the mirror, saying, okay, what did I do to allow this to happen? Why did I allow this to happen? And find out all those whys within yourself and work on it from there. Then that way you won't do it going forward. Oh, they talking.
Kathy said they both appeared to have been very mature from the time they met, and it has grown on their journey together. And I agree, because she was already an attorney. She knew what she wanted to be. And I think a lot of times that happen in relationships, especially I'm going to make this reference to what you said earlier. Like, I'm not going to the Cheesecake Factory. I'm not. So the people who are saying these things, they're still trying to find themselves. So now I'm putting this high demand on something. To your point, I go to Cheesecake Factory with my friends, but I need you to take me to Tavern on the Green.
It doesn't work that way.
Right,
And also with that, and to this point, been on a journey together, we got to also think back then, social media wasn't prevalent. There was really no social media because I'm quite sure they would have been after Michelle. They would have been in her DMs and they would have been in Barack DMs because you hear people say now, look at Barack. That's a when he became president, it's like, ah. So back then, I'm quite sure people would have been in his DMs and hers. Accomplished too for both of them. So that's
right.
another difference.
But Stephanie says, but from the outside looking in, it seemed like the Obamas have a great relationship. True.
Yeah, and they wrote about their problems and that whole thing, so it's good. So that's why we're talking about it. They did have problems. We ran them off, right? Student loan, emotional relationship struggles when Michelle thought she was carrying the weight of everything, grueling work schedules and career pressures, family career, careers, and financial burdens and student debt. So absolutely, they worked at it. And it's a good example for us, I believe, to be talking about because it's something we can model and take away from what they did if the person or us as individuals are willing to put in the work and of course get the book to really get all the real nitty gritty and how they survive because I'm quite sure it's more than this, so hold on.
Steph says, I definitely hold myself accountable for the things I could have or should have done differently when I was in a relationship. But honestly, I think now I'm just in my healing phase. And I think that that's, first of all, admirable of you to
Yep.
be able to say, this is where I am. Because sometimes people just want to be in a relationship to say that I have someone. I actually had a conversation with someone saying, you know what, dating looks different, right? Especially for someone who's been married before, taking the time to heal myself and to figure out who I am. Because something a former pastor of mine used to say, you will bleed on people who did not cut you. So that's unfair to give that to someone when you know that you're still trying to heal. Heal first, come into the relation, then go into the relationship. And first of all, I think seek the friendship. I think too many times we go, oh, she cute, he cute, oh, we can make this work. Cute is not gonna make it.
At
It-
all.
can you understand me? And I think most importantly, and I'm gonna say for me, is can you catch me in the spirit? Can you understand what my silences mean? Can you
Hmm.
can you are you how about this? Can you get a degree in Elaineology?
Right.
And can I get a degree in whoever, ology?
Ology. You gotta put the ology on there.
Right. And which is the study of. I am invested in you enough that I'm willing to study who you are. I don't want to study 99 other people. I want to study you. And when I
Hmm.
can figure out what makes you tick, then I have said I understand my friend, not to manipulate, but I want to understand so I can love you properly.
And again, to your point, co-host, that is great, Elaine, Stephanie, and it's commendable to say, no, I'm not going to get in a relationship right now because I'm in my healing phase. Some people get in a relationship in their healing phase, and it doesn't work that way. You have to heal yourself first so you can get rid of all this baggage and trauma and all that stuff you're carrying and get the tools, because it is, if it's trauma, right? If it's things that's happened to us in the past, it's still there, but we can get the tools to manage it. We'll know when it arises. We'll know when them trigger points come up. And then it's okay, let me go in my bag and get one of these tools out. If that's breathing, if that's journaling, if that's calling your friend on the phone, whatever that looks like, that's what you need to do. But great point. Very proud of you for recognizing that and being self aware of that.
Steph says, Elaineology, love it. Laugh. It's the truth. Because when you can study me and I can study you, then there's something to that.
Mm-hmm.
When we're not just, oh, okay, well, if she don't work next, or if I'm trying to study 5 different people, right? I'm talking
Right.
about if I'm being serious, if
Mm-hmm.
then I'm never going to get it, because I'm trying to say, well, 2 of these people act alike, so I could shift the way I act with this one with that one, opposed to no, I'm intentional. And I think that's the word, intentionality. If I'm going to their relationship, the Obamas, they had to be intentional about what they wanted. What's the end game?
Mm-hmm. I think too many people out here trying to build a person. When you said to the point of this person, this person, this person, if that's the case, guess what? We
Go
all
to
would
Build
do
a Bear.
it. It doesn't exist,
Go to
right?
Build a Bear. Go to
So
Build a
to
Bear.
your
You can
point,
build a bear. You can't build a man.
right? And to your point, you have to be intentional. Hello, Gail.
Hey, Gail. Hey, Nisi. She said, absolutely.
Lovely, absolutely. So let's keep the train. Well, at the beginning, what the real McCoy, let's keep this train running with the oil that the real McCoy gave us. We're gonna play it again because we learned it ourselves something about our black people, but we're gonna play it again so y'all can know what we're talking about and what's the meaning where that term comes from, the real McCoy.
All right. So we're going to talk about modern day couples and marriage often struggle to endure things like the Obamas for several reasons. While Barack and Michelle's relationship had challenges, they prioritized key values that many couples find hard to maintain: the lack of long term commitment and resilience. The Obamas had openly spoken about enduring difficult seasons in their marriage and working through them instead of giving up. Modern couples, however, struggle with resilience. The moment difficulties arise, whether financial stress, career demands, or emotional distance, many opt for separations rather than actively working through challenges. The work life imbalance and prioritization issues. Barack and Michelle supported each other's ambitions but also made time for their family and marriage. Today's stress work stress, career ambitions, and financial instability can cause couples to drift apart. So there's something called individualism versus partnerships. Many modern many modern relationships focus on personal fulfillment over collective growth. The Obamas prioritized teamwork and a shared vision, making sacrifices for each other while maintaining their individuality. So, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts in hearing you read this is so good in terms of all of it, right? The work life imbalance, lack of long term commitment. And for this modern day, where I think a lot of that, well, some of it can be due to social media, right? Because in terms of, think about when we go out, right? There's not too many people that can really sit there and turn their phones down or not look at their phone. At some point in time in that relationship, dating, whatever that looks like, that phone comes out. So if you can't get off the phone, I think, like I said, the phone is another part. So social media, I think, is the third party in the relationship
Okay. I
that
mean, I think
interferes with that intimacy and getting to know each other.
what sticks out for me, and I agree with that, but I think another thing that sticks out is individualism versus partnerships. And
Mhm.
I believe it's this, I am woman, hear me roar. And then it's, oh, I don't need her, I don't need him, and so on. And when you come to a point of I'm my own person, as yes, we are, but when you come together in a relationship, in a marriage situation, it's us constantly dying to self and sacrifice, right? And I'm just going to use, like the Bible says, for God so loved the world he gave.
Mhm.
And if we think about it, for those of us that are parents, we will give to our kids far more than they will ever give to us. You love them so
Yeah.
much that you give. And when we start taking, and I know we talked about this in another show, when the moment we start keeping score, you're going to always run into a problem. The
Mhm.
moment we start competing, like what parent competes with their kid?
Not a healthy one,
Right,
because
not a
it's
healthy
done, but not a
relationship.
healthy one.
So it's the same thing. Why would I compete with my partner or vice versa? Why would my partner compete with me? If anything, we're going to compete in how we can outlove each other. How can we out understand each other? How can we out respect one another? And if that is the way we are looking at ourselves, then that is a way that we can stay together even in quote unquote the rough times, because I don't care, you're still going to be like, I woke up today and I don't like anything about you, and the person could say, well, yeah, right, but I love you and I'll see you at dinner at 7. You be like, oh, you know,
Right.
but
Right.
they understand you. And
Mhm.
I think that's what's missing in a lot of relationships. And going back to what you said about social media, even if it's not social media, it's the phone. That's when, just when you think you're serious, somebody come in and start creeping in like, hey, you was on my mind, where you been, boo? And now here we go, because you're trying to
Mhm.
go back down memory lane opposed to moving forward.
Yeah, if you think about it, the phone is actually the third party in the relationship. I think I believe it was Jamie Foxx that had a dinner and had everybody check their phones at the door and put them in a basket so they can go back old school and communicate. And there was no disruption from the phone, which I think is absolutely amazing. Oh,
Mhm.
hold on.
Kathy says, even in their problems, they must have seen the value of their future relationship because they conquered the challenges. And Lord knows they made it through years of mess in the White House. Absolutely. I mean, I know there's probably days And like Michelle is a friend in my head, so I know there was probably days she was like, "You better not run," and then he was had to talk her in, like, "Come on, the country needs me," and she might have been like, "But we
I
need,"
don't know.
you know,
Right.
and she had to know what was the ridicule of being the first black first lady in the White House, not only once but twice, and growing and raising your children in the public eye. And remember when her mom came to live with them, it was like this is the first time it ever happened. But what I loved about it was she brought that tradition from black families where no, ain't nobody, not just anybody gonna be watching my kids. Get grandma.
Right.
We need somebody we know going to check them. Ain't scared of me, ain't scared of them, and not like I'm gonna tell my daddy, tell him I beat him
Mhm.
too. That's what a
Right.
traditional grandma would do. So I think just honestly, I know it's about the couples, but she has made us proud, and she will always be for our forever first lady.
Yeah, because even with what Kathy's to Kathy's point, Lord knows they made it through years of mess in the White House. Think about how offended we was ready to come through the tea. They said, "What about Michelle? Oh, Michelle could do what she want to do. So what? She got her arms out. Y'all knew, yes, we dressed. I mean, we were offended and ready to fight on her behalf as black women, period. So
And
to your point, yeah, what did
I'm
they go
sorry.
through?
She represented us well. She made us want to aspire to be a better version of ourselves. And even thinking about the book that she written, The Light We Carry, to say it's okay to be different and to own your space.
Hmm.
I
And I
think
think
that's
that was what was the statement? When they go low, we go high.
listen,
It's a challenge sometimes, but
because right, we think when they go low, let's go lower. But she taught us
but it and
let's
then
go
like
high.
to the point, what was she enduring in there? We knew what she went through publicly, but what was going on, and for her to make that statement, right, and be that model, right, for her children and teach that value. I think they taught us all valuable lessons
Mhm.
in terms of where we can go as a couple, how we can build as a couple, how we can stay together as a couple, no matter what comes our way, if you're with the right partner.
Oh, absolutely.
That
Absolutely. And
that
I
that
think
is
that is
so
it.
key.
That is
If
it.
you're with the right partner.
And I think so many times people just want to be in relationships. And sometimes we have our fantasy relationships in our head,
Mm-hmm.
opposed to what is the reality? Do I have what it takes to sustain this relationship? And am I conforming because I want a relationship? I just love love. I don't love you. I love love.
That's not gonna work.
But how many times people have like, I'm at a certain age, I think I should be married, or I'm at a certain age, I think I should have children, but I need a husband. So you think about there are probably a lot of women who got married because they wanted to have a baby, not because they wanted the husband,
Mm-hmm.
but they didn't want to
Absolutely.
have the baby out of wedlock. So they got married to have the baby. They just wanted the baby. They didn't want the man. They just wanted the baby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's, I mean, 9 times out of 10, that's not going to work.
And then you got the baby growing up and all the nonsense. So it's just Kathy, with a lie. Yeah, you know we was ready to fight for Michelle. You know we was ready. Girl, you hear what they said about Michelle? No, they didn't. That was the whole women black culture. We was ready to fight. As far as I know, in my circle, we were ready to fight. And one is on the phone. I mean, that sitting right next to me, whatever side she on. Yeah, you. Did you hear about what they said about Michelle? So those was our conversations. But yeah, perfect example. So talking about theirs, because it's more, I would say, what traditional from back then to now. Let me know. Let's see what the young people are saying.
Right? Women value tradition when it's in their benefit. So they value tradition when it comes to a man having to propose to them, but they won't value a traditional man when he says, "Hey, you got to sit in the house and cook and clean." So like you can't pick and choose the parts of the tradition that you're going to stick by and stand by. If you're going to be open-minded, you have to be open-minded to all.
What's your thoughts?
I don't even know if I want to speak about this.
I want you to. I want everybody in the chat to. Want me to play it again while you get your thoughts together so you can get some more going? He said, because you can't pick and choose. Now, this the younger generation.
I'm so
Oh, it's
glad I'm not in
bubbling.
it. I'm
It's
so glad
bubbling.
I'm not in it. Um, yeah, I struggle with this, and when I say the younger generation, because I believe.
Hold on, because your sister Steph is helping you out.
Right, thank you, Steph. He's tripping. And I'll tell you why I struggle with this, because I think, and when I use us, the older generation, we created the thems. We created a him because we took our sons and we catered to them in such a way. And I go back to the movie Baby Boy, that we turned them into, if I didn't have a husband, I turned my son into being the man, but he's the man, but I catered to him. So somewhere we messed up. And now that to me is like, wow.
What do you really want to say? Because that's not what you're saying
So
it.
that's
What do
what
you
I'm going
really
to
want to say?
say.
That's
I,
what you're going to say?
I,
Because
I,
I know you, and there's more that.
because I'm a very traditional, when I say traditional woman, I grew up, my parents, so when I look at it as a provider, it doesn't mean, again, the level in which you can obtain or live at your level, that person should be able to sustain that or better. That's my thought. That's me. Um, when I hear, so is he saying a woman should then she should propose, you know what I mean? Because if you're going to say it's going to be equal, that's a no to me, number one. And I know there are women who have done it. It would never, if that was me getting married again, I'd never get married again, because that's not going to happen. One.
And we talked
Two,
about that when we first started. Women
yeah.
proposing to men.
Two, um, when he says, can you cook, clean, or whatever, you be in the house or whatever that is, if you can afford our lifestyle, I don't have a problem cooking and cleaning. Because I
Issue with that, he
stay
said
home.
when he tell her, he said when you listen, when you
Problem, right? Women value tradition when it's in their benefit. So they value tradition when it comes to a man having to propose to them, but they won't value a traditional man when he says, "Hey, you got to sit in the house and cook and clean." So like you can't pick and choose the parts of the tradition that you're going to stick by and stand by. If you're going to be open-minded, you have to be open-minded to all.
well, he
Right.
said says, but says is still tell.
Well, I don't see it as a problem if that's what they agree to. And I think that in lies the problem. So I think it's really, when I think about men and women, like what is it, what is the expectation? It has to be more than physical. You have to have that conversation and communication, because I may say, you know what? Okay, I could cook and clean, but that may mean I hadn't hired somebody to do both. As long as your
Right.
food is, I mean,
Right.
you get what I mean? So there's a way around it. And it's still, if the
Hmm.
goal is, I want food when I get home, as long as you got food that you like when you got home, it did not mean that I had to prepare it. If you're
It could
not,
be takeout.
if you're not a person that cooks, if you're
Hmm.
not a person that cleans. I remember, and I think I've shared this before, when I was married, I remember my ex-husband saying, well, I expect you to make up the bed. And I asked this very simple question. I said, but how am I going to make up the bed if you're still in it? I leave before you. So make it make sense.
Again, doing traditional stuff. I expect you to make up the bed, but you in the bed. So
But you're
come up with
in the
something else.
bed. So if
That's
I
not gonna
pushed
work.
you out the bed and made up the bed, then you would say, oh, you're being disrespectful.
And you push me out the bed. Or do you want me to ask you to get up and make the bed so you can lay on top of the covers? Like, how do you want this to work?
Right. So you have to ask the questions, and in the communication, that's why I go back to, you need to talk. What is the see? We keep talking about what's your favorite color. No, at this, and I'm gonna use my sister Dawn. At this big old age, we need to be having a different conversation. I want to know: are you on some heart medicate? Like, what's going on?
Right, there go all this other stuff.
What's your
What you
favorite
got?
color? What pills are you taking, if any?
Right. You got
Is
a nebulizer in the closet. You got an oxygen tank.
do
Like,
you got a
look,
med alert
black
bracelet
people,
on?
you on that sugar. We got all kinds of stuff. We can make up some names for some stuff. Lord have mercy. You got that sugar. Yeah. But Steph is talking to us.
She said the guy in the clip is from a younger generation. The younger generation
Hmm.
thinks it's okay for women to propose. People of our generation are more traditional. It's just two totally different worlds. I agree. So that's why when I see things like that, I'm like, yeah, y'all can keep that. Um, I'm
Yeah, worlds apart. And that's why we sit around doing this.
But again, how did they get that way?
How,
That becomes
yeah,
my question. You did not
yeah.
get that way or that way of thinking by yourselves. I have watched women who say, "Oh, my son so and so, my son don't have to do this." So you put a demand on the man in your life, but you don't put a demand on your
Mm,
son. And now when your son goes out to date, he thinks that the woman should be treating him like his mother in terms of
mhm,
caring for him, and he does not have the skill set to be the man. Or if daddy walked away, he then started, you
mm,
know well, my mama took it, because we do it, we try to overcompensate for daddy not being around.
mhm,
So I think
mhm.
a lot of that. So I look back and say, what did we do for that generation to get like that? Stephanie says it's the parents or the environment that they're in, right? That's acceptable. I mean, I remember when my son was probably 10 years old, I would make him get my car door. That it became a habit that he would be like, "Don't touch the door, mom. I got it." Because I was training him, not for me. I was training him like, I'm like, one day you're going to get out. I need you to know how to treat a lady. If the woman
Mhm,
don't do like to that movie where it's like, oh, you waiting for me to open the door and he rides off, and oppose. No, if you're interested in her, show her that you will hold the door. But not just her, any woman. You're a gentleman, and you be that at all times.
yeah. And to the point, we talk about the generations and just the thought processes and how people are raised in their environment. To the flip side of that, same
Man
age
needs to
group.
understand that the relationship will only go as far as his pride allows it to go. We also need to understand that the old way of doing things, like a woman staying at home raising the kids, cooking and cleaning and doing laundry, like that way of life is not as common as it used to be. Like women are waking up every day and having their way with their careers, doctorate degrees, their self-owned businesses, and everything in between. And a man should not be threatened by a woman's greatness. Instead, he should be able to tell her, like, babe, I see how gifted you are, and I support and I cherish that. And I feel honored to be by your side. I don't want to take the spotlight off of you. I just want to compliment it. Because a man should never, ever, ever stop a woman's bag. But that takes a man that's void of pride. And a lot of men haven't been taught that. So ladies, if you come across a man that lets you shine, recognize that's a rare one because it's not common, even though it should be.
Now, see, young people like that, that's what make you turn into a Kruger. You be like, where he at? Because the ones my age acting a fool, but that's you like you're a Kruger. Yeah, sure am.
He was raised right. He was raised right.
And
And I
that's
think
my point.
the thing is the tradition. I don't know either one of those young men, but I'm almost willing to bet that the latter saw tradition and understood.
Mhm.
He understood, how do you treat a woman in your life. I'm not talking about just any old woman. This is the woman that you want to be with. This is the woman you will stand up and say, I cherish, I honor you, and vice versa. So that means of communication and being able to really tap in, who is she and how do I push out the best version of her, and vice versa. She should be able to say, I don't care where he is on in his game, right? He could think he's at the top, but she will push him a little further because she's
Mhm.
going to see something where she's going to help him take it to the next level. And again, it's us against the world.
Yep.
We're not fighting with each other. Because if he want to
Yep.
fight with me, I'm like, go to sleep. We're gonna wake up and
Gonna try again tomorrow. Because right now it's not given.
yeah. Thank you, Steph. I'm with you. I approve this message. Absolutely.
And I did it to do the comparison, right? So that's why we did it to show that train of thought and that train of thought pretty much same generation. Gil said you got that
And
right.
yeah, exactly. Right. Gail says some younger men act more mature than some your age. You want to say, should I be a cougar? Right. Um,
Listen, sometimes it just turns out that way. And let me tell you something. I've gotten to the point I don't discriminate. Whoever God sends my way and he serves him first and he got all the right recipe, y'all just might be calling me a Krug out here. Just stay tuned. It might be a minute because, it's nobody right now, but I just might be. You never know. Go ahead, friend.
listen, I got nothing. No,
Listen, Gail got something for me.
she said amen.
Amen to that. But in all honesty, I'm saying that in terms of, I think as we get older, or whatever your preference was growing up, we put a cap on and we block whoever God is trying to send us because we have all these specific requirements, how we think the man or the woman is supposed to come. He got to be chocolate with bald head, thick eyebrows, long eyelashes. He got to be, or she got to have long blonde hair and she got to be vavon. We have all these expectations. To your point, we asking the wrong things and looking all this superficial stuff. What's at the root of you? What's at the core of you? Can you take care of me? Can you treat me like your wife? Can you treat me like your husband? Will Is it you and I against the world? That's the stuff. What kind of medication you on? How can help me help you? All of that stuff. That's the stuff we need to be talking about. Like you said, in terms of what's your favorite color? What's your favorite restaurant? We're gonna get all of that. But again, like our sister Dawn said, at this big old age, we don't have time for that. We
No,
we we just really don't have time for it at all.
and as we just grow
Which
and mature, I think that's the part of it. Am I mature enough? Am I healed enough to know what I need, even if it wasn't on my checklist? Right? We're like, he got to
Mhm.
be your point. He got to be 6'2". But what if he's 5'7"?
Right. Now you may struggle with it in the beginning. Might be a little struggle because you have your heart and your thing, what you're used to, what you're attracted to. But I just think if he has all the other attributes, you can get over the height.
Oh, absolutely. Because in your head, you'd be like, man, please, he is better. Or, even if it was a guy and he was like, I need her to be X, Y, and Z. Because they got your heart. And I think that's the main thing. Can I trust you with my heart?
Mm-hmm.
If I
That
can
part right
trust you
there.
with my heart, that you will honor it, that you will honor who I am and who I'm not. Because I think that's the part. Because we go, oh no, he or she, they this, they this, they this, they that. But can you honor who I'm not?
Mm-hmm.
And in that area where you're better, can you cover me and vice versa? Because it talks about the Bible. It says love covers,
Mm-hmm.
right? Can you cover me?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So this has been our segment. Oh, Steph said exactly. Yes. So has been our segment, right, on the Obamas. But again, Black History Month, we are going to be talking about Black historical Black couples that we can learn from in contrast to this modern day world that, us seasoned saints peppered that we really don't know what's going on. Oh, Kathy has a comment.
His mother must have helped him to see her part in raising him as a woman and the value of a woman.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
So that's
talking
a good point. So what we're going to do now, we cannot let y'all leave without learning yourself something. So before we head on out, please look at this because this is going to learn us something for Black History Month, if you didn't know.
Where the phrase, the real McCoy, comes from? Elijah McCoy was a remarkable inventor and engineer who made significant contributions to the world of steam engines and machinery in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Born to fugitive slaves from Kentucky and Colchester, Ontario in 1824, he showed a keen interest in mechanical devices as a child and went on to study mechanics and become a certified mechanical engineer in Edinburgh, Scotland. Despite racial prejudices, he secured a job as a fireman and oiler for the Michigan Central Railroad, where he created his most important invention, a lubricating cup that could distribute oil evenly, ensuring machines could run continuously without pausing for maintenance. This device was so popular that it is widely believed to have led to the phrase, the real McCoy. He filed 57 patents in his lifetime, including an ironing board and a garden sprinkler, making him one of the greatest black inventors in history.
So that's a little history. When somebody try to tell you something that's not real or sell you something fake, now you can say, is that the real McCoy? Now we know where it comes from. Just saying, we are some spectacular, smart, brilliant individuals that they held so much back from us growing up in school in terms of Black history. I think it's just that we need to do our own history and research and learn where all these things really come from. So now we can even appreciate our cars even more because of
The real
the real
McCoy.
McCoy. Because the real McCoy said so. He said, "I'm gonna do something for my people," right? And think how his patents are still being used to this day. So that is our segment on the Obamas. Hopefully, you will be back next Monday at 7 p.m. for Mondays Beyond the Mic. We thank you for being here with us and enjoy the rest of your week.
All I do is try to construe this life.